So should Quebec City get another team? Captain Paul for the Locker Room here. If you have not already, I appreciate if you hit that subscribe button and like as well. We'll be doing a $100 gift card giveaway once we reach 5,000 subscribers. You have to be subscribed and hit the notification bell as well to be entered into that. Let's get into it. Teams like the Arizona Coyotes struggling to even have a home at this point. A lot of fans, especially former Quebec Nordiques fans, want to have another NHL franchise. Quebec, when they moved from the WHL to the NHL, they had some lean years, but towards the end of their tenure, they were one of the best teams in the NHL. After that Eric Lindros trade, they became Stanley Cup contenders. Lindros was traded to the Philadelphia Flyers for Peter Forsberg, Mike Ritchie, goaltender Ron Hextall, defenseman Steve Duchesne, and Kerry Huffman, future considerations which eventually became the enforcer Chris Simon, and 2 first-round picks and $15 million. With one of those first-round picks, they selected Jocelyn Thibault, and the other was traded to eventually get Nolan Baumgartner from the Washington Capitals. This trade was massive for a lot of reasons. Forsberg won the Calder in his first year, became one of the best players in the NHL, and then Ron Hextall was only with the Quebec Nordiques for a year. They ended up trading him to get Mark Fitzpatrick, who didn't work out, was just let go in the expansion draft for 1993, and a first-round pick which they selected Adam Deadmarsh, who was a key member of Colorado Avalanche Stanley Cup winning teams. I know this is very common history at this point. Jocelyn Thibault was traded from the Colorado Avalanche to the Montreal Canadiens for goaltender Patrick Waugh. So a lot of Quebec Nordiques fans feel robbed in a way. As soon as they moved to Denver, they won a Stanley Cup, and there's a lot of passionate fans in Quebec City. They still sell Nordiques merchandise, and the Quebec Ramparts, they have a passionate fan base in that city as well. And that's just a junior hockey team. They desperately want a team back. But does it really make sense to go from Arizona to Quebec City? No. Just due to Eastern and Western Conference alignment, Detroit is now in the Eastern Conference. They don't want to go back to the Western Conference unless you have a team in the East willing to switch conferences. It would make things completely out of whack. And I'll be kind of blunt. Quebec City, while a passionate fan base, doesn't have a huge population. When the Winnipeg Jets came back into existence for a second time, people cited a worry of them only having a population around 700,000. And as of today, they have a population of 749,000. Now, Winnipeg Jets games still sell out. They're very passionate about their Jets, regardless of how much they're let down over the years. But Quebec City has a smaller population base of only 542,000 people in their city. It does bring into question, is there enough people to support an NHL franchise in Quebec City? Now, I know that's a small population, a little over 500,000 people, but with how ravenous of hockey fans there is in Quebec City, I do think a franchise would work out. But there's another thing outside of population that is holding them back, and that is the value of the Canadian dollar. You already have a billionaire interested to make a team in Houston happen. So Quebec City is kind of already behind the 8 ball. But then when you add into the fact that 1 Canadian dollar equals 74 cents of the United States dollar, I'm just not sure if it's financially viable to have another team in Quebec City. Now, I know the market can fluctuate, but overall, the Canadian dollar isn't worth as much as the United States dollar. And I think all of these factors coming together make it so that we probably won't see another Canadian hockey team for at least the next decade. Whether you hate it or not, Bettman has been all in on creating hockey markets down south. With the Tempe proposal debacle, I think it's finally setting in that, hey, maybe this just is not a good market for us due to the history of what's happened. But I think even with teams that are struggling with attendance and a lot of various issues around the NHL, I think Bettman's just going to keep making teams or moving teams within the United States. Because if I'm him, it makes far more sense to move Arizona to Houston, where they stay in the same conference, and you have a market where you get more bang for your buck. Now, financial stuff aside, the emotional side of me, I want Quebec City to get another hockey team. Canadians are passionate about the sport of hockey. You could probably have a population of 300,000 in that city, and they would still sell out every night if they're getting a good product on the ice. And I'm not saying a Stanley Cup contender every single year, but a relatively decent hockey team. And I have some good friends of mine from Quebec City. I do think it would work, but due to the leadership that is currently in place race with Batman and just a lot of different financial factors, I'm just not sure we'll ever see another Quebec City team. But I'd like to know your thoughts down below. Should Quebec City get another team? And if they did get another team, do you think that'd be one of the best rivalries, right? Quebec City versus Montreal again? I don't know. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Thank you again so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.